Magic is recorded live in front of a Twitch audience.
Hi, I'm Rob.
And I'm Orson, and let's talk Magic.
Today, we have a couple interesting subjects for you. We're going to end with the Planeswalkers. That's very exciting. Since last Saturday, all 4 of the Planeswalkers and Shadows Over Innistrad have been spoiled.
Yeah, over the course of the week, we've gotten lots of little previews and lots to talk about.
Yeah, it's very exciting. But first, we actually want to talk about an issue that's popped up in the community involving intentional draws, intentional concessions. You know, like the impact that they have on the entire community or anyone in the tournament as a whole.
Right.
So,
well, first, how did the subject come up?
Okay, so there was 2 articles that were written. One referenced the other. This last Thursday, I believe it was, Mark Nestico, hope that I'm saying that right, basically talked about how we have this sort of a cancer right now in the community, which is people that are intentionally drawing, locking people out, so on and so forth. Like, it's kind of bad. It takes away the competitiveness that we have in Magic right now. Like, every game should be played. We're here to play Magic, but there's like this little sub-politics game going on.
Right.
So it also referenced back to something that happened at the last Pro Tour, which was an Ephro's article on Channel Fireball, where he was talking about, it was this great tournament report, and all of a sudden he gets to this point where he's at round 13. He's up against the only undefeated player, Michael Jacobson.
He was not undefeated himself. Right?
He was not. He had 1 loss.
Right.
And he's up against the undefeated player, and he asks the undefeated player for a concession. And he explains to him that it doesn't affect him. He's still going to get in the top 8, and this allows Ephro to be in the top 8 as well. Okay, so you kind of see where this is leading to. This is interesting because Ephro suggests this. Now, if we kind of take this at face value, what Ephro's saying is, you know what? You're already locked for top 8. Why not let someone else in?
Right.
Yeah, let someone else in. Now, would Michael Jacobson... Now, here's the deal. Michael Jacobson did not concede to him. He actually played it out, and he beat him.
Right.
Okay? So that's important.
Did it lock him out of top 8?
Ephro ended up, not making into the top 8. Now, Ephro did have, I believe, 2 more in-and wins to where he still could have got in, but he did not win those matches. Okay? He was basically asking for a free guarantee to get into the top 8.
Right.
Okay?
Which isn't a lot to ask, but there's more behind the scenes than that, too.
Well,
so.
Yeah, and here's the other thing. I mean, like, real quick, he's sitting there saying, let me in. Would you let any random person in to the top 8 just because you just happen to be undefeated? Is it fair that you just sit across from someone, no matter who that is, and you say, I'm undefeated, you're in? You are the lucky person that doesn't have to earn. You don't have to earn that. And that's what's so important here. I think Ephro felt like he deserved that spot because he was paired up against Michael Jacobson.
Right.
That's not earning your spot. Earning your spot is actually getting in there, which we saw he didn't earn.
Right.
He still had 2 more rounds. He could have won that round too.
Oh, yeah, because there was 2 rounds left at that point.
Yes.
Right. Yeah.
So he could have actually beat Michael Jacobson, still got in, or won his match against round 14 and round 15. Right? So he had 3 opportunities still to earn his place into the top 8.
Right.
Now, why is this such a big deal? Why is this such a big issue in the Magic community? Well, this actually kind of exemplifies, it really shows us, it exaggerates something that we've always kind of had an inkling, an idea that was going on, which is, I'm going to just make a blanket statement here, I think that teams in Magic are actually a bad thing.
Okay, explain.
Okay, so we have situations now where, well, first off, we already say, well, this isn't really good that happened between Ephro and Michael Jacobson. He should have never even asked for this intentional concession, okay? Teams and all this little fixing that's been going on with it are causing certain people that are not involved with teams to be locked out of the top 8. Now, you can say, which Ephro tried arguing, well, no, you should earn your win. Which is funny because he says you should earn your win in, but he was trying to not earn his.
Right.
It's so amazing how some of the pros, not all of them, most pros are good, how some of the pros just feel like they're entitled because they've done something at some point, and they don't have to earn as many wins as the typical player.
Right.
Or I've come this far, and you should just give it to me.
And not every pro is like that, but there are some. We've definitely encountered that that mindset out there. Yes. And not only that, you bring up a good point. Like, if you go to a Pro Tour or a Grand Prix or something, and you play through those 12, 13 rounds, and you are not a part of a team. You've gone there all by yourself or with some friends or whatever, right?
Yep.
Nobody else is that you know personally is anywhere near your position, like the top 8 contention towards the end of Swiss and all that.
Mm-hmm.
You are automatically at a disadvantage versus anyone else who's there with a team.
And the reason
because they can play those politics with each other in those last few rounds to make sure that even if they're not going to make it, one of their teammates is.
Yeah, and see, that's important there. There's more levels to even just that simple of a statement. It's also because look at how many times, whether they drew in, okay, people draw in, that happens, okay, they might have earned it, so on and so forth. Intentional concessions, that's a totally different route, which should never, ever happen. And that's a way to easily cheat your way in. But look at how many times people get to the final round.
Because it's not against the rules.
Sure. So all of a sudden you get to the final rounds, and if you're not associated with the team, you're playing for top 8. The other person might not be playing for top 8, and they normally, you might intentional draw into it. Well, they say, well, look, if I beat you, my friend who's currently in 10th place will get 7th or 8th.
Right.
And he gets in the top 8.
Yeah, so that you could be playing somebody who's not in contention, who normally, if all things equal, would maybe be kind enough to say, you know what, sure, I'm going to give you the win and let you win. But that doesn't happen because they are there with a team that they are trying to ensure get into the top.
Yep.
So you, like I said, you automatically go into the tournament at a disadvantage if you're not on a team.
And that's the one thing that the pros don't seem to recognize. They want to sit there and say, like I had an interesting, I got to watch Paulo Victor de Rosa.
Yeah. Something like that, yeah.
Yeah. PV DDR. You know what? I'm really messing this up. Normally I'm pretty good about this. But Paulo, just cut it short.
Paulo, there you go.
Paulo had basically, he had a lot of different, I'm going to kind of paraphrase what he was saying here, but he was trying to say that, look, guys, the pros aren't keeping you out. You should just be winning more matches. And that's not actually the problem because you can, sure. Where people aren't complaining because we're not winning enough matches. What we're complaining about is the teams and the pros don't have to win as many matches because they can have someone else from the outside help them. This is collusion.
Right.
This is a big deal. This is collusion. One thing I would like to personally ask Efro is this. Efro, all these Magic tournaments you've been to where you expect other people to help you and that you ask for these concessions, whatever it is, so that you can be locked and so on and so forth, how many times, whenever you've been playing professional poker, has someone done that for you?
Poker?
Yes. How many times have you been in a tournament, once again, another competitive situation, might not be as much money involved.
Get down to the final 2 at some sub-table.
Whatever it is.
Can you just give me your chips so I can go on?
Exactly. Hey, you know what? Go not quite all in, because they'd have to turn over the hand. Just put in almost everything and just muck your hand after I call. Let's just get this over with. That would be a sweet deal for me. No one's going to do that. And this is important because this is a competitive game. All games that are competitive need to have a level of we're here to play the game. So I kind of have a sort of crazy idea I want to throw out there. Okay. This doesn't fix everything, but something that can, because I was racking my brain. I'm like, what could we possibly do to try and prevent a little bit of this? How do we?
Because you certainly can't make rules specifically about it because this is all stuff that goes on inside your mind, behind the scenes, people talking.
People making deals before the tournament even starts.
Right.
Exactly. So,
and people studying very closely to understand exactly what tiebreakers and everything is, so they can go and look at that standing start and go, well, if I do blah, 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 my buddy gets blah, blah, blah,
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's the problem. There's so many, before I even say it, I just want to reiterate here, it's because there's so many politics with that person who normally wouldn't even play against you because they're not playing for anything.
Right.
And they might be willing to give you the intentional draw, and they are trying to beat you, not because they're going to get any more money, because they're still going to place in the top 16 or whatever it might be. They're just trying specifically to help a friend get in there or a teammate.
Right.
Okay? So my first thought was, and I don't think we can do this, is what if at the end of every single match, someone had to be awarded 3 points? That was my first thought. Okay, what if every single person, no matter what happened, there's a match and there's going to be 3 points to someone? Okay?
Seems a little shaky.
Well, that would actually fix all of the problems, but we can't do that.
Right, because a draw is a draw.
Exactly. The reason we can't do that is because we have 2 people that are actually sitting there playing Magic, competing, and all of a sudden, because whatever the reason, clogged boards, someone played a little too slow, which we need to try and prevent anyway, but something happens, and for some reason, they actually can't finish their third game. It would be completely unfair to either award 3 points to this person and 0 to that one, or, give them no points. So I think no matter what...
It's really hard to... it's literally impossible to just award it based on like who did more damage or whatever, because damage isn't the only way to win. There's milling and blah, blah, blah. So, yeah.
So we need in those situations, we need those players to be able to earn a point each.
Right.
They played Magic, they deserve that. The people that won and lost their matches, they played Magic, they deserve the 3 or 0 points. My proposal, and we're going to have to really put a lot of thoughts in this, it's not just this idea. We need to all come together and say, you know what, we can take this and maybe expand upon it. Maybe this does work. It's at least a step in the right direction. There is no intentional draws. What that means is if 2 players, okay, you can intentionally draw, but if you do, I think you should be awarded 0 points.
Both players.
Exactly. Both players get 0 points. Now, whoa, wait a minute. Hold on. Whoa.
It's really hard to enforce, first of all.
Well, okay. It's actually
at first
easy.
It would be. Yeah.
This is easy because if 2 players actually feel like they don't want to play Magic, which was what they came there to do, we can allow them to intentionally draw, get 0 points each because they did not play Magic. They can go eat and do whatever it is they wanted to do. Okay? Now, if 2 players want to sit there and actually play, and they want to pretend to intentional draw, well, guess what? They're going to have to play and go to time.
Right.
Okay? I think that, yes, we should still give 1 point to each player if we actually go to time and Magic was played. Okay? And I think that same deal. Someone wins or loses, 3 points, 0 points. I think that this will prevent people from being so willing to just intentionally draw, messing with other people's points, that are actually sitting there playing Magic. Why is it? Because we're in an 8-round tournament. I just won 6 rounds straight. Why should I be allowed to still make top 8 and not even play my final 2 rounds?
Right. When somebody battled through 8 rounds, lost different odd ones in there, but still went 6 and something.
Right.
And made their top 8 that way. Yeah.
Yeah. And they actually had to play. They put in 100% effort every round. I put in 75% effort. Why am I entitled to being in the top 8?
Right.
Is that fair?
Not to mention...
Here's the thing. We all in our minds, we actually think that's fair because that's how we grew up with the game. That's how the game was taught to us. Look, you do this, you get to draw into the top 8. It's a wonderful thing.
Yeah.
But...
I don't know that it was taught to us that way. It was just sort of a trick that some people figured out early on that is carried out into tradition, basically.
Right. And that is the problem. That's what we actually need to get rid of here. Like, Magic fatigues you. It really does.
Right.
So that person that won their 6 rounds, they're not just getting the advantage of getting to go into the top 8. They actually get to rest.
For 2 hours.
For over 2 hours in some cases. They actually get to rest and recharge. Okay? You can argue all you want. Well, they earned it because they went 6-0. No. They did not earn that. The person that earned their top 8 was the person that played all 8 rounds. That's the person that earned it.
Well, I have another argument for why the intentional draw should maybe be banned or fixed in some way.
Okay.
Think about this. StarCityGames.com or Magic or someplace like that, their actual website, they go out and they provide coverage to a Grand Prix, to a Pro Tour, to a Star City Games Open or whatever, right? Mm-hmm. So they have this coverage, and they get to the point where we're in round 13 or 14 or whatever, getting towards the end of the top 8 cut.
Even the last round. I know where you're going.
Yeah. And suddenly there's this a slew of people, 4 to 6 people sometimes or more, that can intentionally draw and get into the top 8. Right. So what is their coverage for those last two or 3 rounds?
I know what their coverage is because I've seen it. You know how many times I've been watching Star City Games coverage? We get to the last round, and I'm like, wait a minute.
Why are we watching this?
We're watching people that aren't even in top 8 contention. What's going on here?
Like 17th and 18th?
Yeah, what we're watching is, and they do a great spin on it, okay? They do a great job because they sell us on this. Well, we're watching Eric Hawkins here, even though he's only battling for top 32, because this really matters for the Player of the Year race.
Yeah.
Or for this season, so on Invitational.
Or if he does this, he ensures he gets a pro point. Or look, this guy went 6-0 with so-and-so weird deck. Let's see how he's doing or whatever,
Exactly. We're not actually watching the actual real coverage of what matters here at the end.
Yeah, because throughout the whole tournament, they're sifting down that coverage to whatever the top end is.
The top people are,
like the
right.
top 8 tables, somewhere in there. That's where their coverage is till the end, because there isn't a table playing. So if we fix that, if we fix it to where you have to play Magic, even especially at these big events, where money is on the line, where coverage is on the line, where advertising dollars are on the line for the coverage providers, then suddenly the last few rounds before top 8 are relevant and enjoyable again.
Yeah.
So there's another reason why they should fix the system so that you can't just walk away from the tournament for the last 2 or 3 hours and not care what's going on.
On that note, at least for the Grand Prix recently, their attendance has been so high that people actually are they're showing the win and ends. That is happening.
Win and ends?
Yeah, win and ends. Like, these people are actually battling. They have to win.
Oh, right.
And we're actually getting to see those home coverage.
Yeah, but I mean, there does come an occasion where you would want to watch those people who are vying for first or second or third or fourth or whatever. And
see if they hold that first spot.
It can't happen, yeah.
Right.
It almost never happens.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so true. So, I mean, I think, what do you think? So is this a step in the right direction? What if I'm just going to lay it out. Here's basically the rule. You either win or lose. You get 3 or 0 points. You
play to time.
You can actually play to time and each earn 1 point.
In which case,
and that's basically the only way you can earn points.
Right. In which case, like you might say, well, if you force people to play to a draw when they want to draw, right? Then they're going to go to time. They're going to just play their hand onto the board and not swing ever, or whatever.
What's interesting?
You know what happens though? Again, with the coverage, what kind of coverage is that? If the third and fourth place match or whatever is taking place, and there's just 2 people who have already decided beforehand they're going to ID the unofficial way, right, under these new rules,
right,
by playing the time, right, but are just sitting there playing cards, and the overhead cam is going, okay, there's 2 boards just full of creatures not doing anything.
All right, he has lethal with his flyers, and he passes the turn.
Right.
I'll tell you what actually would happen. This is interesting, because these people make these agreements, right?
Yeah.
What happens whenever the one guy actually says, wait a minute, I can easily win this game?
Yeah.
What happens whenever he goes, wait a minute, I'm just going to attack and get this over with?
Yeah.
That's what we need to get to. As silly as it sounds, and that sounds like someone breaking a trust, we need people to play Magic.
Yeah.
What they're doing with their intentional draws or conceding to let a friend in or whatever it might be to help out their teammates.
It's not Magic being played.
It's not Magic being played, and it's also causing it's allowing these players to look better than they are in a sense. Because once again, the only people that a team's going to help is their own team or someone they think might help them in the future. They don't think Joe Schmo, they don't think Rob and Orson are going to be able to help them in the future. So why would they help us? We have to battle our entire way. It is a battle.
Right.
And this isn't, you shouldn't say this. Some people are going to respond and say, well, you guys should battle your way till you do get entitlement. What? No, we shouldn't have to earn that. No one should even get that.
Yeah, the playing field should be level from the get-go.
For sure. Yeah. And so that's why I said kind of at the beginning, I think teams are actually, think about
detrimental.
Yeah, it is. It's detrimental to actually everyone else.
Now,
and anytime Efro or any of those guys asks you, the common player, hey, do me this favor.
Why should you? Because they wouldn't do it for you.
They would not do it for you.
Yeah.
It will never happen in your favor. If they ask you to intentionally draw, it is for them.
Yeah.
Okay?
Obviously it wasn't going to be in your favor, but I'm saying if the tables were turned, they would not do the same for you.
Right. If they have the opportunity to help a friend get in, they're going to do that.
Yeah.
Make sure my phone's down. All right. So I just wanted to touch base with that. You know what? I think we should collectively, you guys, all of us, leave comments on our YouTube video if you watch us there. You know what? Give us your idea. There has to be a better way than what we have because Magic is meant to be played. It is competitive.
Just play Magic.
Hashtag just play Magic. I like it. We'll create it. As soon as this episode's over, there it is. Let's get into the next thing, but we will figure this out together. The next thing we want to discuss, this is a little bit more exciting, not so serious.
Yeah.
SOI, Planeswalkers. All 4 of them have been spoiled.
Yeah.
We have them on our computer here, and... Yeah. What beauties! Oh my gosh!
Thanks to those of you who have stuck with us through our little rant there.
What? Oh yeah, this is. I mean, these are beautiful. I'll tell you what. Let's start with Nahiri.
Yeah, so like we said, in the week since we were on last, they somehow spoiled all 4 of their amazing Planeswalkers here. So let's have a look.
All right, so Nahiri is
Nahiri the Harbinger.
a white, a red, and 2 any.
2 generic.
2 any. All right, 4 loyalty, and it says +2. You may discard a card. If you do, draw a card. -2. Exile target enchantment, tapped artifact or tapped creature. -8. Search your library for an artifact or creature card. Put it onto the battlefield, then shuffle your library. It gains haste. Return it to your hand at the beginning of the next end step. Okay, a lot of words here.
Yeah, so the plus is obviously relevant for a theme that's coming out with Madness and Delirium and such.
Yeah, Madness, Delirium, good point.
Yeah.
The -2, people are looking at that and saying it's a great way for it to protect itself.
Potentially.
And then the -8 is it's a good. Most of the Planeswalker ultimates nowadays I've noticed aren't necessarily
toned
a
down
game
a bit.
finisher,
Yeah.
but they do really help try and win the game. So you did some other damage early in the game. This would help finish. You're going to have at least 1, 2 really big abusive guys. In Modern, they're going to pair Nahiri with Emrakul all day. I don't really think it's a good deck, but people will do that.
Oh, artifact or creature, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Right. Annihilator 6.
Yeah, even now you could get like, well, I don't know that Kozilek and such are not all that
the
great
new
anymore.
Ulamog actually whenever. Oh no, it's whenever you cast it.
Yeah.
Well, you can exile the top 20 cards.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know what the most amazing thing to grab with her right now would be, but
there's plenty of big bodies.
Yeah.
So here's my problem with Nahiri. It seems really good, and really, if you think about this, you're paying 4 mana. You could actually have a 6 loyalty Planeswalker if you +2 her.
Right.
But you're not going to be able to use any of the Madness cards that have been spoiled so far. There's no 0-cost Madness cards.
So far.
That's why I said so far. And
you mean if you cast her on turn 4?
Right, you cast her on turn 4.
Or for all of your mana, basically.
Right, and then you suddenly discard, draw a card. What she does do is give you maybe a better card quality. You don't know, because you don't know what the top card is. You have to discard first.
She does, like I said, though, she does help you get Delirium, which may be relevant. We really haven't looked too close at what a Delirium-based deck does.
Right.
But to be honest, so far what I've seen of Delirium is just sort of making a decent card a little better.
Yeah.
So it's
definitely.
not like a synergistic strategy all by itself so far.
Right. So, it can go to +2. 6 loyalty is pretty big for 4. We saw like Gideon started at 6 loyalty whenever he was 5 mana. I mean, 6 loyalty is big, but it's not really giving us much of an effect. Its minus ability, which people are calling its protection, is a little lacking. I like the idea we can exile target enchantment.
Yeah.
I don't like the idea that it has to be a tapped artifact.
That is so weird.
It is so weird.
It makes me think that they wanted to be able to put tapped enchantment on there as well.
Yeah.
And they're like, wait, that's never going to happen. Tapped artifact then. That's fine.
No. They're like, let's make everything tapped so it's a little bit more restrictive. Yeah. Oh, you can't tap an enchantment? Yeah. Well, you could.
Not in this set anyways, yeah.
So,
yeah,
I don't really like tapped artifact, and the tapped creature is not as good as our minds first make it out to be. We're so used to whenever we think of a removal that says destroy a tapped creature, I'm used to like instant speed removal. Something that says, okay, my opponent's attacking before we get the blockers, before this creature can do damage, I'm going to cast this for like 2 whites or 2 white and close, whatever it might be. And now you have to lose your attacking creature.
Yeah, but if you think about it,
creature.
If you think about it, okay, maybe they had something out from turn 1 or like if you're playing her on 4, they had something out from turn 1 or 2 that might have swung last turn when you play her, right? But they might just as well have something that just cast last turn that has not been tapped, and that might be the real danger to her.
And the thing that will actually kill something with 4 loyalty.
Right.
The card they cast on turn 1 and turn 2, that's not going to take out it exiles it be at 2 loyalty.
It might, yeah, I was going to say, it might if you used it for removal.
And that's what's crazy, like, it's not that good at protecting itself. It's a fine, maybe later game removal, but then here's what we got to remember. This creature already hit you. It already attacked.
Right.
It killed a creature, or it did something for this creature to still be in play and tapped. Sure, we can argue all day. There's cards that tap and draw cards and do whatever else.
If that was like your entire deck that somehow was built like that, maybe. But I don't know. She seems to just hit the mark a little bit.
Yeah,
missed the mark.
Missed. Thank you. I was gonna say hit. I was like, whoa.
Yeah,
are we reading the same card? Nahiri started pre-order at $20, and I will say this: do not buy. I would not buy her for even $8. She is not an $8 card.
I could see her settling pretty low. Now, again, let's put a little caveat on that.
Obviously, sure, if we get a Madness for 0,
Right, then
we get something crazy that has not been spoiled yet, her value changes.
Right.
But as it sits right now, if we continue to get the same style cards that we have already been seeing,
Which are very, very conservative Madness cards.
well,
They're pretty conservative.
conservative,
Compared to what we're used to. How's that?
conservative, yes. But
Compared
here's
to the old
let's
Madness.
word it this way: she just doesn't have enough effect. I don't want to finally now on turn 5 after she's been in play now allow me to discard a Madness card that I could have discarded on turn 3
Right.
or 2
to a 2-cast something or other. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's not exciting on turn 5.
Yeah.
So as I said, her I think her value will settle 8 or below, and it should definitely be below 8 with what we see currently.
Certainly under 10.
Yes.
Yeah.
Next card, and this is weird to me because people are excited about this. Started, before I tell you what it is, started pre-order $20 on Star City Games.
Real quick, one last note on Nahiri.
Sure.
Didn't you say that people have been comparing it to the power level of Ob Nixilis?
Well, that's funny because we will be able to compare that after we talk about the next one. So let me get to that.
Okay, sorry.
It's really funny here. Yeah. Yes, Ob Nixilis. It is around the power. Actually, people were comparing it before we saw this next card. I compared it a little bit to Nahiri and said I would rather play Ob Nixilis.
Right.
So now we get to our next card. Started out $20 on Star City Games. Before 12 hours had passed, up to $30. Jace, Unraveler of Secrets. 2 blue, 3 any. 5 loyalty, +1. You get to scry 1, then draw a card. -2. Return target creature to its owner's hand. -8. You get an emblem with, listen to this one. Whenever an opponent casts his or her first spell each turn, counter that spell.
It's pretty strong.
I'll tell you, you end on that -8. It's like, what?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay, whoa, wait a minute. Like, just thinking about that resolving right now, it's just like, little. Yeah, they got hard. Wow, it's embarrassing.
It's not that cold in here.
It's
so.
not, wow. Okay, so, here's the problem with the card. It's 2 blue, 3 colorless. Now, people are saying, first off, a lot of people like this. That's one reason it jumped up to $30. Jumped up $10 immediately. Let's talk about each thing here. +1, scry 1, then draw a card. It's good.
It's good. A little late for the level of card draw that is, but it's good.
It's good.
Yeah.
-2, return target creature to its owner's hand.
See, there's nothing wrong with the text of that ability. It's the cost of that ability.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This is a Planeswalker that's dropping on 5, and we're returning it. Now, the parallel here, what people are comparing this to...
Ob Nixilis.
Ob Nixilis.
Right.
Okay?
Same casting cost. The first 2 abilities are
similar.
Comparable. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, with Ob Nixilis in this format, I have a
He's
very...
still around, isn't he?
Yes.
He's from Zendikar Block,
yes,
right? Yeah.
He's from Battle from Zendikar. Battle for Zendikar.
Yeah.
The big problem here is, if I have a choice between these 2 cards, I'm definitely playing Ob Nixilis. His ultimate is nowhere near as good as Jace's. That Jace ultimate, I will give him this, it is amazing.
Pretty strong.
It is very strong. How often are we actually getting to our ultimates on a 5 casting cost Planeswalker?
With +1s.
Exactly, with +1s. It can't even jump up +2 so it can try to reestablish anything.
Whose protection is temporary at best.
Exactly, it's return target creature. Ob Nixilis, I lose 1 more loyalty, but I'm destroying a creature.
Right.
There's a huge difference between destroy and return.
Right.
Return, my opponent still has access to that card. They have the options on the next turn. Destroy, at least I'm getting rid of it. There's times where we can try and control the board, drop an Ob Nixilis on turn 5, destroy their turn 5 play, and still get use. Jace, at best, you're returning it.
Now, granted...
And he's going down to 3 loyalty, so once again.
Yeah, exactly. Granted, the bounce could be used on a creature of your own, but
which is fine. And a lot of people are saying, well, you can use that with...
the blue-white guy.
Yeah, the blue-white, and it's not coming to me now.
Yeah, me neither. The guy
Reflector Mage.
Reflector Mage, there you go.
Okay. Yeah, you can use it with Reflector Mage. That's not what I want to do on turn 5.
Well, plus it's not going to happen on turn 5 because you're going to bounce it and then it's going to be locked into your hand until you get more mana.
Right, and you now have a 3 loyalty Jace.
Right.
Yeah, I just don't...
yeah, he has different utility than Ob Nixilis, but I don't think he's quite strong enough for his cost.
And that's what's amazing. So we've made this kind of comparison with Ob Nixilis, and we are basically arguing that even though the +1 is a little bit better scrying than drawing a card, it's a little bit better than Ob Nixilis because he's lose a life and draw a card. So I guess it's a lot better. But we're talking about a $30 card, and Ob Nixilis is like 6-ish.
Yeah.
Trade value easily 6-ish. Some places are still trying to sell them for like 7 or 8.
Yeah, and you may as well... Okay, first of all, if you want to directly compare both of their first 2 abilities, they're basically the same card, so why shouldn't Jace immediately be a $6 or $7 card, right?
Right.
And second of all, Jace's second ability is strictly worse than Ob Nixilis.
For sure.
Yeah.
So
there you go. There's your comparison right there.
Yeah, so we're talking about a $30 card. What is Jace's real value? Well, because his name's Jace, he actually holds a little bit more value for some reason.
Yeah, he does.
Jace just automatically...
People,
the name Jace.
People want that Jace.
Yeah.
He's a Jace rare.
So he is a Jace rare. No, I did get it. You were the worst. So, yes, Jace will probably settle somewhere between 10 and 15-ish, but his true value is basically where Ob Nixilis is.
Sub 10?
Yeah, I'm gonna
12 under 12 for sure.
I'm gonna put him under 12 for sure. I think he's really around 10ish. The only reason he has a little bit maybe more value, besides the name Jace, compared to Ob Nixilis, is he's a blue card compared to a black card. But at the same time, whenever we're getting to turn 5, there's a lot you could have already had with your mana base. Yeah. It's pretty easy to be a 2-color deck and have 2 black mana for Ob Nixilis, which
even post fetch land rotation.
Right, which I will definitely play over this Jace because it is inherently more powerful. This guy doesn't really have any synergy that makes him special. So all we can look at is just raw power between these 2 cards.
Right.
And I'm going to go Ob Nixilis pretty much all the way. And plus in the future standard, what I see here is if we are going to be playing blue that's in a controller style deck, we have one of 2 options. It looks to me personally white-blue or blue-black. And blue-black, so far, looks to be the stronger of the 2 color combos. We're not sure on Esper yet because the Shadows Over Innistrad, their dual lands hasn't been spoiled yet.
Right.
So we don't actually know.
If there are any. I mean, we assume there are.
Yeah, we do assume. There's going to be.
We have
the way the numbers work,
lands, but nothing else interesting.
The way the numbers work, we should see a new cycle of lands because no other set names...
Or a reprinting of something.
No, a reprint doesn't but tell you. It can't be reprints.
Really?
Yeah, because they've tried every single cycle of lands, and there's no reprints that could fit. So, interesting. We are going to have a new set of 5. We just don't know what they are. Some people are claiming...
Mirage fetches.
No. Once
That'll
again,
happen
that
one
would
day,
have been a cycle. Let's go to our next card, shall we?
I'm joking.
All right. I'm going to let you pick between these 2. We'll finish with the strong ones.
I was going to say, let's go to Sorin next.
Okay, Sorin...
You just gave it away.
I did. Yeah. They know. A black, a white, 4 any, 6 loyalty, +1. Reveal the top card of your library and put that card into your hand. Each opponent loses life equal to the converted mana cost.
Pretty cool.
-X. Sorin, Grim Nemesis, deals X damage to target creature or planeswalker. You gain X life. And then -9. Put a number of 1/1 black vampire knight creature tokens with lifelink onto the battlefield equal to the highest life total among all players. Okay. What's your impression of this card?
For his cost, like to me, he immediately feels like EDH territory.
Oh, yeah, of course. Especially since he has all players. He talks about players, opponents.
I mean, not even that. It's just he seems like straight to EDH to me. Like I don't really know that he has a place in Standard. He seems at the casting cost he doesn't seem like he... I don't know. He does do some finishing kind of activity if you were in the right kind of deck. Because everything he has is damage to either a player or a creature or a planeswalker. So, like, I suppose... Is it loses life? See, yeah, his plus can't even take out a planeswalker.
Right.
Which is pretty key, really.
But his minus can.
Yes. That's true.
So, let me tell you my opinion on Sorin Grim Nemesis. I hope no one watches this. Please do not watch this. Right now...
Don't say that, by the way.
Right now...
People will take it serious.
Well, good. Take me serious.
I mean,
you know what? If you
they
made it
hang
this
on
far,
every word that we say.
Listen, if you made it this far, you shut off the video right now. Okay? Do not buy this card. Do not listen to me. Here's my opinion of Soren. Right now, it's at $20 on Star City. It's going to lower. It's gonna get to a lower price, and I want to snatch these up at like $12. I don't want to pay $20. I want to buy these things at $12. Let me tell you why. Okay? You ready for this?
That's a yes. Sorry.
Oh, I didn't know what was going on. I thought he was having a stroke. There was a little bit of a fear.
I mean, I know you can't see below here, but that's not what was happening.
Man, you guys really missed out. I was kind of hoping he was going to do a little trick for us today, which was spontaneously combust. We talked about this last night. I said, man, if you spontaneously combusted...
I'll work on it for next time.
Then we would be the highest rated YouTube video ever. Because no one's caught that on camera. It's not even real. All right.
Can't be a repeat performance, just so you know.
It would not be, and I would be without a co-host, but you know what?
He'd probably make some money.
Totally worth it. I would totally, you should sacrifice yourself for the betterment of me.
So you can, donate it to America's Funniest Home Videos.
I could win $10,000.
Yeah.
Work on that.
Still doing it?
No.
Oh.
Work on that. Okay, so Soren, this is really unique. I really actually surprisingly like this card. Yes, it's 6 mana. But I like to put it into how is this going to play out in a game situation. Okay?
Well, obviously, you want him in a deck that plays a reasonably top-end amount of casting costs. Mm-hmm. So that whenever you're turning something off of his +1, you're getting some good value off of it.
Right. Which, yes and no. Here's how I view him. His +1...
It is card draw, too.
I say, if you just look at this as card draw,
right,
it's already okay. It's at the realms of, well, that's not special. But now we tack on, well, this could actually be used as a finisher.
Right.
This could actually close out the game. It's not doing damage, it's loss of life, which also is a little bit relevant in certain situations. Okay? So it is card draw, and it can finish.
Right.
Okay? Now, his -X, the max it can ever do whenever you first drop him, is 6 damage, but then you lose this card. I don't like it for that. What I like is, I feel like if we went first and we play this on our turn 6, and our opponent... We were dealing with their creatures through a little bit of removal. We are talking a white and black card here.
Right.
Okay.
The removal is probably plentiful.
Right. We're trying to take care of the board in different situations. There's a lot of times where we can drop this Planeswalker, take care of whatever they played, gain that much life, and then still have Soren available to us for future turns, or still make them have to deal with it.
That's really true. Yeah, the gain life does a good job of extending the game.
Exactly.
Right.
I actually like that. I think
removal
both
and
plays
extending
here,
the game.
Right.
So, yeah, that's a good point.
Both plays here are very good.
Yeah.
We're never going to get to his ultimate. If we get to his ultimate, we should have already won the game.
Yeah.
Unless
we're in a protracted control game and he's actually a control finisher of some kind.
See, I even view his drawing cards and doing damage as a control finisher anyway.
Yeah.
So he is, in my opinion, he is a very well designed card. Okay, yeah. Soren is really good. He's not $20 good, but I'm willing to spend more on Soren than I ever will on Nahiri or Jace.
Yeah.
Which is why I said $12, ironically.
Right.
So, yeah, I feel like he is going to be easily a 1 to 2 of, and a lot of control decks that are running, whether it's Esper, just anything running white-black, and I think that he's a very solid card for that deck. Because he actually has, in my opinion, creature removal compared to Jace, who just returns. A bounce is nowhere near as good as actually straight up taking care of something.
Right.
And the fact that it can hit a Planeswalker with this mice ability is really cool, because if we do see these weird token Planeswalker decks, whatever it is, he actually... Think about how many Planeswalkers he takes down and still survives.
Yeah, especially if they've minused him.
Yeah. Especially if they've minused him. He can take him out, gain you some life, and still have value.
There. Yeah.
Yep. So let's get to the biggest, baddest card in all of Innistrad.
Well,
you want to go ahead and tell them about this one?
So
this is way too many words for me.
So Arlen Cord, okay, it is she is a green, red, and 2 generic. She comes into play with 3 loyalty counters, and she says +1 until end of turn. Up to 1 target creature gets +2/+2 and gains vigilance and haste. Pretty cool.
Okay.
0. Put a 2/2 wolf creature token onto the battlefield, green wolf, and then transform her. She's a double-sided card. Okay?
What?
I'm sure everybody's seen it, right? Yeah. So Put a wolf into play, transform her. Okay, she does not have a minus on her front side. Okay, so transform side. She is now pure red, and she says...
Wait, she's not pure red.
Oh, I'm colorblind. So she's red-green still.
Yes.
She says, +1. Creatures you control get +1/+1, and gain trample until end of turn. So a mini overrun.
Okay.
Okay. -1. Arlen, embraced by the moon. That's her backside's name. Moon on the backside.
Yeah, people have a little bit of theories on that.
Arlen, embraced by the moon, deals 3 damage to target creature or player. Transform her again back to her front side. Okay, and she has a -6 on the backside that says you get an emblem with creatures you control have haste and tap. This creature deals damage equal to its power to target creature or player. So that's a pretty cool finish.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's a lot to take in. There's a lot of mechanics happening there, which means that like you have to constantly be in flux of which side you get, right? Depending on what the board state is and which ability you've needed to use, etc., right? Mm-hmm. So you do have complete control over which side she's on any given turn, but sometimes you will have to transform her and you don't want to, or sometimes you will not be able to transform her and you need to. So there's a lot of question marks there as to whether or not, she can always be exactly what you need, right? So that's one of the reasons that we haven't said it yet, but like people aren't really valuing her very high yet.
No, they are.
Oh, are they now?
Oh, they are. They are.
I think it was low at the beginning, wasn't it?
No. People have been pretty high on her.
Really?
They have been, yeah. She started out at 30 on Star City, and immediately went up to 40.
Really?
Yes.
Is that what she is now?
She's sitting at 40.
Wow. So that's the most out of all 4 of these, right?
Yes. Yeah, people are looking at her. And this is actually a great point. What is the difference as far as why did she start at 30 and jump up to 40 compared to, say, these other Planeswalkers you saw that some people are equally as excited about?
Well, there's a few things you can just list off immediately. A, she has 5 abilities.
Okay.
B, she's a flip card.
Okay.
So
then,
those are 2 things. And she's an entirely new named Planeswalker, which is...
Sure.
And is decent for a new named Planeswalker.
Sure.
Right.
I will say this, though. Number 3, the way that we actually got spoiled Arlen was LSV, of all people, showed her to us.
Oh, yeah.
So there's a big difference on how this card was revealed, because we actually got to see one of the top 10 players in the world
evaluate her,
and tell us the tricks it can do.
Right.
So whenever people saw Sorin, there was no additional text for us to figure that. Like, people had to look at this card in their own eyes and try and see what you could do with it. Same with Nahiri, same with Jace.
Right.
Okay? LSV telling people immediately this card is bonkers.
And here's some scenarios, here's some stuff
here's
you can
things
do
it
with
can
her.
do.
Right.
Suddenly propelled its... So, here's the deal. It propelled its value to... Is it there? Possibly. But it propelled it closer to a real value. Because people actually got to see it in a real situation, essentially. They got to actually hear all these different scenarios and how you would use it.
Right.
Whereas the other ones, it's like, once again, people just all kind of
chitter-chattering. You have to read it in a vacuum. Yeah.
So
now there are people out there who are capable of looking at a card and saying, all right, well, what can you do with this card? What does it really do in the format as a whole? What does it do by itself? Mm-hmm. What does it do in different strategies? Mm-hmm. But those are not always the reviews that we get.
Exactly. And it's also not something that's going to be so widely seen immediately by so many people.
Which is why people get burned, or which is why people miss things whenever these sets come out.
Right. So we're going to do our own little review on Arlen. We're going to discuss it. We're going to try and figure out just where this card falls, what is so great about it, where maybe it looks so great, is it maybe lacking. We're just going to try and hit this from a lot of different angles. So we're going to go first off the front side. Whenever we drop her on turn 4, we have a bunch of different scenarios. A lot of those involve we might have a creature on board or several, or we have none.
Right.
So depending on if we have creatures or no creatures...
She's so complicated.
Exactly. Determines which side, what we're going to use for. Actually, there's times where maybe you do have a creature on board, and you might say, I need an additional creature.
Right.
Because I want to immediately flip her so I can use the +1/+1 and trample on my next turn.
Right.
Very, very complicated card to evaluate. Even in LSV's article, he still didn't touch everything because you can't necessarily touch everything.
Right.
Those articles, you're only supposed to write so many words. You don't want to make it so long that you just bore the reader.
Yeah.
So
I'm looking forward to seeing what this card feels like in a deck. Because I guarantee you, as you go along and you playing, you're gonna be like, "Whoa, this is the thing it does," or "Oh, it doesn't do that very well," or, you know, stuff like that.
Oh, there's this line of play. There's something here that I just, whoa, wait a minute, I can do. Oh, wow, this is great.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna give our viewers the overall how we feel about this card, and then we'll discuss each thing. The overall feeling here is this card is very unique. It's great because it has many different ways that it can win you the game.
Yeah. And not just card quality or removal and stuff. It is actually a finisher in more than one way.
Right. It finds different ways to help you win the game. It's not just a win more.
Right.
This is a card that finds a whole... You're just like, wow, okay, wait, I can do this and win the game. I can go this route and just win the game. And it's all based upon your board state and what your opponent has going on.
Not only that, but as weird and sort of almost one-dimensional way as the card seems on the surface, I feel like it fits in multiple strategies. Mm-hmm. Like I mean, obviously the most obvious strategy is an aggro-ish or mid-range kind of deck where you're wanting to overrun, you know, for a win or something like that. But but I feel like that is not the only place that it belongs, which you can't say for a lot of Planeswalkers, you know.
Yeah. So the other thing I want to say about this, just the overall feel of this card, and I think this is what I think people are getting wrong about it. A lot of people are saying this card can just straight up bring you back into the game.
From behind?
Yeah, and I don't think this card really plays well from behind. I think that's the one area. And it's so funny because whenever you look at this at face value, it looks like it should play well from behind. It's a Planeswalker that you drop. If you need, it gives you a 2/2 creature.
Without losing loyalty.
Without losing loyalty, stays at 3, right? So it protects itself. The problem here is whenever it does protect itself, it flips. We no longer have the crazy try and protect itself form. We do have sort of a way to protect itself, which is the bolt.
A lightning bolt, right.
For -1, which now puts it at 2 loyalty.
Yeah.
Which is a big deal. So
now in a vacuum, you would think dropping it for 4 mana and then being able to take the route Wolf Bolt, Wolf Bolt, Wolf Bolt. You would think that'd be pretty darn good, but like how often is that going to happen?
Yeah, I mean it's great.
That is amazing.
That is great.
That's 6 power in creatures and that's 9 damage in lightning bolts. So that's really good, right?
It's really good. The problem is
for 4 mana.
Yeah, but how many times, like he was saying, how many times are you actually going to be able to pull that off?
But the cool thing about her is that even if you don't get to do that exactly, she has so many other strategies going on that she still can find a way to get you through scenarios and stuff. You know, it's definitely not going to be the case where I know what I do with Arlen Cord. I bolt, wolf, wolf, bolt, wolf, bolt, whatever. You know? I like the card a lot. I think it's so flexible.
I do too. You know, my favorite thing that I like to think about, and I would just love if we could pull this off, it'd be amazing if whenever you do play Arlen Cord, you could actually just +1 her right from the get-go, attack with the creature, get a little extra damage in. It's still a blocker if you need be or whatever it might be. But
yeah,
what I really like...
That's something we didn't even mention is the fact that her plus is protection.
Right.
Her plus gives something 2/2, vigilance, and haste.
Well, we
which
didn't discuss it because we're discussing the front right now.
Yeah, yeah. Which means that if you had a creature already in play, when you played her, she, you know, it stays behind even through an attack, you know, because you have vigilance.
Right. The only downside is you would still, obviously in most cases, you're talking, since you're dropping on 4, you could have played something that's maybe like a 3/2 on 3 or a 3/3.
Right.
In which case, it's still going to be a 3/3 back on defense, which means you would still either trade or lose it to whatever your opponent's attacking you with.
Right. And if you plus her, she's still on the front side, which means next turn she can only wolf if you're out of creatures.
Well, this is what I'm excited about. Not really. This is actually what I wanted to say about the front. No. On my turn 5,
you can haste something.
I'm going to drop something for 5 mana,
right.
A big power creature.
+2,
I'm going to
haste.
plus Arlen, get +2/+2, haste, and still have my blocker.
Yeah.
That's what I really like about this card.
So after she comes into play, her protection is even more valuable.
Exactly.
Yeah, I love this card.
I actually... So as much as I love the backside, and the backside's really unique, I'll tell you where I see the backside coming in. First off, we're never going to use the ultimate. I'm just going to get that right out of the way. Out of the blue, get it out of your mind. You're never going to use the ultimate. It looks easy to get to.
If you do, you were winning already, probably.
Yeah, you've already won because of the steps you had to take to get to that ultimate. You have already won the game.
Yeah, you've +2'd how many times, or
+1,
or +1 and trampled how many times?
It's all +1s.
Yeah.
But you've done okay. As you were saying, +2 with the right. Yeah, no matter how you did this, you have already won the game.
Her pluses are always an aggro, you know, an aggressive format, like aggressive action.
Exactly.
So yeah, you better have been getting ahead.
Yeah. So we're gonna take the ultimate completely out of the picture. It's a thing. It's a thing.
You may win a game with it once ever, but it's not something you're aiming for.
The important word there was ever.
Yeah.
So what we have to look at here is this whole front. I really like the front side. I think there's times where, like we were saying, a token deck, plant tokens with Nissa, ally knight tokens with Gideon, whatever it might be if you're building an Aya Walker deck, some sort of token deck will immediately put a token into play, will flip her, will get the mini overrun effect, will win the game.
Right.
Okay? That is one route, and that's how you would play her in that style deck.
But I think
there's
what
so
you're
many
saying
other
is,
decks.
I think that the most effective route is to have her in a deck that has just normal creatures in it, plus her to plus those creatures, protect yourself with that, and then keep doing that until finally you flip her and overrun with your board.
Heck, you don't even have to, because if, let's say, every time you dropped a creature and you hit your opponent with a bigger creature, because they get +2/+2, then you block and you always lose your creature, all you have to do is just keep curving out.
Right.
You're going to just win because your opponent will never be able to keep up with her first plus.
Right.
That first ability is, in my opinion, other than a very specific token deck, the best ability on this entire card, and should be, the most used. I think that's where people are kind of misevaluating. Yeah, you can do all these really cool tricks. Gosh.
Flipping her back and forth.
We
had a delicious lunch.
Yes, we did. You can do all these really cool tricks, and that's fine. That is another option. It's another avenue. It's another way to, win the game. But really, her plus on the front side is amazing, and that is really what makes the card unique.
Yeah.
So
it's what gives her the most versatility.
Yeah, I honest to God think we could talk about Arlen for a very long time, but I think we got most of our points across.
Yeah.
As far as
I agree. I agree with what I assume your opinion is that she's the best out of these 4 Planeswalkers.
Yes, she is the best.
Which is great because that is actually what people are agreeing with right now. But it's not great because they're going to be hard to get before we want to play Standard.
That's so true. Exactly. That is the downside. But here's the deal. Do you think she's a $40 card?
She has the potential to be. She has the potential to be if the deck that she goes into ends up being amazing.
Just the most dominant deck.
Right.
Yeah. This
and
card...
I can see that happening with her, but
right.
But I don't think right out the gate she should be.
Even without that, even if she was in the most dominant deck, I still don't think she's a $40 card. I'll tell you this. It takes a lot for a card nowadays, with how many packs are being opened and everything else. It takes a lot for a card to hit $20.
Yeah, she's no matter how good she is, she's going to settle quite hard after the initial dust up.
Exactly. So I'm not saying she's a $20 card. I think she might be worth a little bit more than that. I would say she is probably a $25 card, maybe $30, but really settling around the $25 mark because she does do a lot. And there might even be a brief period where she dips a little below. She might go to 18, something like that, just because people haven't quite found the right way to use her. But as time goes on, she will really settle in that 20 to 25 mark. Whereas whenever we talk about our other Planeswalkers we've discussed this episode, Nihiri, you're looking at sub 8. You're looking at Jace being somewhere around 10-ish just because of his name.
Yeah.
And then Soren, as I believe, he's around the $12 mark, maybe 15 if for some reason he explodes, but not really. He's really closer to 12.
So for certain, the other 3 Planeswalkers all between like $8 and $15.
That's where they should be.
Yeah. Yeah, and this one's settling 20-25.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
now, before we go, one last thing. These 4 Planeswalkers, where do you see them outside of Standard?
Okay. Nihiri.
Just briefly. We don't have to.
Okay, yeah. Nihiri. So we're talking, whenever he says outside Standard,
we're talking Modern and Commander.
Let's just go specifically Modern because Commander will take way too long.
No, I mean, we just say, is it a card you should play in?
Well, okay, here's the problem though. In Commander, every single Planeswalker is good.
I guess so.
So
if you play a Planeswalker deck or whatever,
whatever,
there's all kinds of weird things.
So forget Commander. We're going to go straight to Modern. Modern, let's go with Nihiri. We'll go in the order we reviewed these. Nihiri? No. Jace? No. Soren? No?
Probably not, yeah. He's just too high.
Yeah, and Arlen...
His abilities are strong, but they're not... Comes way too late.
So no. Arlen?
Maybe.
Yes, because of Jund.
Yeah, maybe.
Yes.
You think she played in Jund?
Hold on.
Probably in Jund.
Hold on. Instead of saying maybe...
Jesus, Jund.
Instead of saying maybe, let's both say yes. Arlen?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, you're right. In Jund, yeah.
All right.
Man, that's exactly the kind of deck she wants to be in.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Guys, I want to thank you all for joining us. It was a pleasure.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I guess we will see you in a week or on Tuesday. I'm not sure.
There is no in a week. Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Bye.